It's not a great look, acting as if you don't need the media, you don't care about answering these questions, that you're above it, that you can ride on vibes. They also need to be held accountable for their records. Hers as vice president and senator, his as a governor and a representative in the House. And they need to be accountable for an agenda that they have yet to present. Voters do want to know, and especially those swing state voters, guys. Tim Walz in Minnesota has a very progressive record, some social policies that are far outside where the majority of American voters are.
That was S.E. Cupp on CNN saying Kamala Harris has to speak to the press. No one knows exactly what her policies are. Joining me now, GOP strategist Lisa Boothe. So, Lisa, it's good to see you again. You know, it's neck and neck in the polls. Her team seems to think that it's okay now for her not to talk for 6 weeks. She's not going to talk to the press until Labor Day. The last time she gave a press conference answering reporters' questions was December 2023 in Dubai. Just, I think, 12 minutes and 6 questions. Why is everybody supposed to be okay with this?
Because she doesn't have to. I mean, look at the media. They're doing everything they can to prop this candidate up. They've pushed everything she has said. Oh, she's no longer wants to ban fracking. She's all of a sudden going to secure the border, despite the fact that she's been the border czar and has let in over 10 million illegal immigrants. They're trying to rewrite history, gaslight the American people, because they hate Donald Trump so much that they're willing to lie and propagandize everything that Kamala Harris tells them, and we're all going to suffer as a result, because a lot of Americans right now are feeling like the American dream has died, that it is unattainable in this economy, in this environment, and that's only going to get worse under her. This is probably the least substantive campaign we have ever seen in American history, where she doesn't even feel bothered to put issues up on her website. I mean, think about how entitled and how gross that is, and what a disservice that is to the American people, but she might get away with it.
You know, Lisa, it's so interesting. Real Clear polling says the race has no toss-up states. It's Trump 287 versus Harris 251 right now in the Electoral College. You know, her running mate has wanted to stop gas cars. Her Biden White House push to crack down on U.S. oil and gas. That would power less and less of America's homes and electricity going green. You know, Biden won by less than 200,000 votes in Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania. Do you think voters are waking up to the blackout on Kamala's policies?
I hope so. I mean, it is a challenge when you have, you know, the mainstream media not wanting to question her, when you see companies like Google try to change, you know, the search engine. So you can't, you know, search for Donald Trump's assassination attempt. So, I mean, when Republicans say the system is rigged, I mean, you look at those things, and those are examples of why so many of us feel that way. And this is after they've tried to jail the former president. He's still awaiting sentencing from a judge who donated to Stop Republicans, and to Joe Biden as well. They've tried to bankrupt him. They've weaponized the FBI against him. And then meanwhile, you look at a party that is the most undemocratic process we have ever seen, where billionaires and millionaires and party elites have installed a candidate who has never received a single primary vote, has never won a caucus. And now she has a media not questioning her and refuses to even put issues on her website. I mean, this is so anti-American. It's very sad for our country. And a lot of Americans are hurting right now, and they deserve to know where these candidates stand. And I hope the media steps up and does it. I know we're doing our job on Fox Business and Fox News, but I hope the rest of the media catches up and does their job. Otherwise,
okay,
it's a complete disservice.
Let's listen to this. Let's get your reaction to this sound.
We want to recognize the right all people have to freedom and liberty to make choices, especially those that are about heart and home, and not have their government telling them what to do. We believe in the collective.
Right. I mean, she's talking out of both sides of her mouth. She's about big government coercion. She said that after Tim Walz praised socialism as neighborliness, when it's government coercion to take people's property. She's been about big government, never worked in the private sector, never did he. Your final word.
Well, you know, Tim Walz has also visited China 30 times, so you wonder where maybe he gets some of these policy ideas from. Yeah, this is coming from a party that is trying to imprison their political opponent, or what we saw during COVID of the lockdowns, the draconian measures that they were pushing, or trying to force vaccines in the arms of Americans who didn't need it. This is not a party that believes in freedom. Tim Walz set up a COVID snitch hotline, so you could turn on your neighbors and your friends and your family. These are people who hate freedom. They are anti-American, as I pointed out, with the whole process that Democrats have taken in installing her. So, no, they do not believe in freedom. It's a total lie.
Lisa Boothe, great to see you again. Come back soon.